Donald Trump launches berserk attack on Ann Coulter, gives something away in the process. In general, we try to ignore Ann Coulter as much as possible. She says horrible things that are calculated to bring her free negative publicity from the left, thus endearing her to the right, which drives the very profitable sales of her racist and xenophobic books. But now Donald Trump has gone and dragged Coulter into the picture in a way that, for once, is worth talking about. Ann Coulter has written a number of books about how Donald Trump's racist border wall fantasy is going to magically make everything perfect. When Trump initially caved on his wall, Coulter lashed out at him, because she had to, in order to retain credibility with her racist audience. This prompted Trump to double down on his wall after all, shutting down the government. But this was a disaster, so he caved again, and instead launched a national emergency that he knew wouldn't go anywhere. Coulter is a flaming bag of crap, but she's not stupid. She knows Trump isn't building a wall. More importantly, she knows that even Trump's deluded racist base is starting to figure out there will never be a wall. So she keeps lashing out at him. This has left Trump in the surreal position of attacking Coulter, even though she's very popular with his base. Trump posted this deranged fantasy on Twitter this afternoon, wacky nut job Ann Coulter, who still hasn't figured out that, despite all odds and an entire Democrat Party of far-left radicals against me, not to mention certain Republicans who are sadly unwilling to fight, I am winning on the border. Major sections of wall are being built and renovated, with much more to follow shortly. Tens of thousands of illegals are being apprehended, captured, at the border and not allowed into our country. With another president, millions would be pouring in. I am stopping an invasion as the wall gets built. Number mega. Of course, not one word of Donald Trump's Twitter rant is true, aside from the wacky nut job part. But what matters here is that, rather than continue to seek Ann Coulter's approval, he's now trying to throw her under the bus, even though they have the same base. Some of their shared base will side with Trump, while others will side with Coulter. Either way, Trump will lose at least some supporters over this. But we suppose he's in too desperate of straits to care anymore. Good comment. Sweet Annie Coulter thought she was a woman, but she was another man. All the girls around her say she's got it common, but we don't know if she can. Of course, not one word of Donald Trump's Twitter rant is true, aside from the wacky nut job part. I can't stop laughing. This might be a major indicator signaling that Trump land is starting to unravel, but then again, it could just be wishful thinking on my part. Yes, asylum seekers are being apprehended, but according to local, AZ, news reports, dozens of them are being dumped at downtown bus stations here. How can this possibly be helping the situation?
The president is obsessed with anyone who talks about him. Love him or hate him, Donald Trump loves having his name in people's mouths. He makes his haters famous by focusing his attention and public tantrums on him. He actually tweets about books written by people who want to see him impeached and imprisoned, not even realizing that he is advertising the book's release and, in turn, making said hater money. The same goes for Ann Coulter, who is barely even on the human radar. Her hateful rhetoric is mostly just ignored. She tries very hard to be as shocking as she can, but it hasn't garnered the career she hoped it would. She only got Trump's attention because she's a conservative, and therefore stupid enough to support and vote for him. However, since she recently turned on the president after he reopened the government without getting funding for his border wall, the president has been totally obsessed with her. Look at what Trump just tweeted about her out of the blue. A wacky nut job at Ann Coulter, who still hasn't figured out that, despite all odds and an entire Democrat Party of far-left radicals against me, not to mention certain Republicans who are sadly unwilling to fight, I am winning on the border. Major sections of wall are being built. Donald J. Trump at Real Donald Trump, March 9, 2019. And renovated, with much more to follow shortly. Tens of thousands of illegals are being apprehended, captured at the border, and not allowed into our country.
With another president, millions would be pouring in. I am stopping an invasion as the wall gets built.
Trump at Real Donald Trump, March 9, 2019. The people viewing the tweet on Twitter had a lot to say about the president's ridiculously childish behavior when he has an entire country to run. Below are some of those reactions.
Declared a national emergency on the southern border. She said that the only national emergency is our president is an idiot. So, you know how that's about to go. Because they love throwing each other under the bus. Boy, I couldn't be friends with people like them. I just don't pick those type of friends that could just turn like that, you know. I guess sometimes I do, but it's not something that I'm comfortable with. Like if I see a certain kind of behavior in a person, that pattern where they flip-flop and they turn on their friends or whatever, I know not to become friends with that. I know that I should not befriend that type of person, because if they're doing that to their other friends, or they did it to their other friends, it'll just be a matter of time before they get around to me. But these MAGA hat conservatives, they got it bad. I mean, don't get me wrong. Now, the liberals got it bad too. Now, I ain't on either side. But it's just the hypocrisy that trips me out about them. You know, riding with Trump, kissing his butt, and then turning on him. Like, you already know who this dude is. You made him who he is. You propped him up. This is our guy. This is the best that we can do, by the way. This doofus, this doter, is the best thing that we got that can represent us. Go get him, Donnie. Donnie went on out there with all those bankruptcies, with that half-ass education that he paid for, bought and paid for, because you know he ain't graduated from no Ivy League schools on his own merit. Went on out there, that McDonald's Brett, Coca-Cola Tom. I'll do it, I get it. That old mop toupee. And we ain't gonna tell you what Melania been talking about that other stuff that he do. Oh man. We'll talk about that real soon. I'm gonna break that for y'all real soon. Now, this is what Trump had to say about Ann Coulter. Now, he talked about, on Friday, he talked about how these conservatives are not, the pundits are not controlling him. They don't tell him what to do. He name-dropped Sean Hannity. He name-dropped Rush Limbaugh. He said, they don't tell me what to do. But when it came to Ann Coulter, he was very vicious. He said, I haven't spoken to her. I don't follow her. I don't talk to her. But the press loves to bring the name Ann Coulter up. Probably, if I did speak to her, she would be very nice. But I just don't have time to speak to her. She's off the reservation, Trump concluded. This dude right here, man, he knows no end to stupidity. You know it's bad when Fox News is no longer a safe place for Donald Trump. And Ann Coulter, oh man, two faces. You know she was going to turn. You know all of them. They all cut from the same cloth. Do anything to save their own skin. Turn on anybody. Can't be trusted. Can't believe I actually agree with her on something. But this is it. It'll probably be the last time in my lifetime. I do agree that Donald Trump himself is a national emergency and something must be done. Got this statement from Donald Trump about collusion. When asked about collusion, he said, "Collusion."
Specifically about Bush lying to get us into the war about weapons of mass destruction, yeah, of course, that made my head explode. But whether it's Bush's fault or Obama's fault for pulling out every last troop, as I believe, going forward, I do, and I think most Americans agree with Trump. Enough with the foreign wars. It didn't work. It's not working now. Again, whether it's Bush's fault or Obama's fault. And, you know, you watch these Republican debates, and at least for the first 5 of them, half of the debate is Republicans talking about the Kurds and the Kurds. Can we get back to America?
The Kurds and the Kurds. Thank you for the confusion there. Al Cardenas, thank you. You're a guy with Jeb. Is Jeb W? Would Jeb have taken us to Iraq? Would Jeb have done with all this neocon stuff? Would he have done all these wars?
I think Jeb's a lot like his dad, but I'll tell you.
I agree, by the way.
But
not like W.
Yeah, but I'm hearing Donald Trump. Here's a guy with a pretty significant lead in the party. And here's Rand Paul, who had to leave the race because people weren't buying into the libertarian approach to foreign policy in our party. I mean, in 2012, people thought Rand's point of view of foreign policy in my party was pretty good. That's how the sequester came about. That's how we agreed on a sequester.
Yeah.
But here's Donald Trump following the lead of a guy who fell flat because the party's in a different mood regarding our foreign policy. Now, why in the world would Donald Trump begin talking about Syria, let Putin do it, about Iraq and everything else? The guy was in a commanding lead, and he's thrown the dice.
I don't know why he's taking a chance on knockout. He maybe wants the knockout. Anyway, let me go to Congressman Sanford. You know South Carolina, and you're not officially for anybody, but this looks to be, it really looked like a risky move by Trump to try to knock off Jeb on the issue of his brother's war.